It's 9:30 Mountain Central Time AM, and it's time for our live video chat with Sara, or as my grandkids call me, Oma. Well, grab your coffee and clink in and let me know you're there. Now, this week is a special week for me because it's my birthday, and you'll notice I'm wearing a crown. Good morning, Jen. Good morning, Michelle. Clink, clink. I've got my happy birthday mug. Now, I know it's not a birthday cake or anything, and I don't have a birthday mug. So, my birthday's coming, and I might need, because, besides yarn, my other fetish is coffee cups. Good morning, Petra. Clink. Good morning, Stacy. Clink in. So good to see you guys today. I wish I could really see you. Wouldn't that be fun? Well, I'm wearing my crown today because this is my birthday crown. And like I said, I have two birthday hats. And I'll be showing you the other one later. I wore that one last week. So the reason I'm wearing this crown is I went to the dentist. You know this isn't true. I went to my dentist and she said, Sara, you need a crown. And I said, I know, right? So I made myself one. Actually, this is just a chunky headband. I made it kind of look like a crown, and I like wearing it because it's comfortable. Michelle loves coffee mugs too. And if y'all don't know it, I found out last week that Michelle and I share a birthday. We share our love of yarn and our love of coffee mugs. I got a twinsy out there. All right. Well, before we get started in our conversation, I just found out some sad news. My grandson, Aiden, is homesick from school today. So I wanted to tell him I love you, Aiden, and I hope you're watching. And thanks for watching my video if you are. And Oma loves you very much. You get better. All right. Did everybody clink in? Woohoo! My voice is a little scratchy. I'm having some issues a little bit, so I might be drinking a little more than usual. When is my birthday? February 12th, 1953. Okay, on February 12th, it is my birthday. And I always like to celebrate early, like I said last week, because Valentine's Day is the 14th. So here's the deal. My wedding anniversary is December 30th. So at Christmas time, I usually just get one gift because it's a Christmas anniversary gift. Okay, so my birthday is, February 12th, and Valentine's Day is the 14th. So I miss out on another gift because I don't get a birthday and a Valentine's Day gift. I get a birthday Valentine's Day gift. So I miss out on 2 birthdays a year. Is that just not fair? The truth is I'm pretty spoiled. All right, are we ready to talk? I wanted to talk to you about, I've gotten this question probably once a week for 5 years. And I'm going to ask you this question. Do you have I can't talk this morning. Good morning, Jen. I drink coffee. She says she's not going to have coffee because it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I drink coffee all day long, and I drink it right before I go to bed. I'm one of those weird people, probably because I was probably an undiagnosed ADHD child, because I was, caused my mom a lot of trouble. But anyway, I have always drank coffee, and coffee calms me down. It relaxes me. I love to have a hot cup of coffee in the evening and take a hot bath. I can sleep for 8 hours. Okay, back to the question. Have you got skills? Have you got crochet skills? Well, one of the questions that I've gotten, like I said, like once a week forever, is in crochet patterns, is a beginner pattern and an easy pattern the same thing? Because, and they'll say this, I'm a beginner and your easy patterns are hard. The truth of the matter is beginner patterns and easy patterns are not the same at all. And if you go to, like, say, Lion Brand, Red Heart, or the Crochet Guild of America, and all those places, you'll find the skills chart. And it really boils down to about 3 or 4 skills. Okay. The easiest skill is beginner. And the beginner skill basically is learning to chain, learning the simple crochet stitches, single crochet, slip stitch, double crochet. I was reading Jen's thing. She said she loves my humor. Some people call it crazy humor. Anyway, the beginner skill is not the same as the easy skill. And like I said, the beginner skill is the learning area, the simplest things. Crocheting, single crochets in a straight line. There's not hardly any kind of shaping, like making a heart or a square or stuff like that. It's basic stitches, basic joining, nothing fancy, nothing, no front post, back post, front or back loops, none of those things. Beginners is basically single crochet, double crochet, chaining, making small items, and practicing. And there's a lot of really great beginner patterns out there. You don't have to be a beginner to do a beginner pattern. There's a lot of really neat ones out there. So the next step up from beginner is easy. And the easy patterns go along with a lot of that stuff you just learned in your beginner patterns, only it brings in some new things, like maybe a little bit of shaping, or not just doing straight rows of single crochet, but adding like different things to maybe to make a wave. And also in your easy patterns, you'll have front post and back post, so you'll be learning what the posts are. You'll also have front loop and back loop on the tops of your stitches, and so you'll be learning what the loops are. And so it's a step up from beginner to easy. And most of my patterns you'll find in the easy area. I have some that are beginner too, but most of mine are in the easy area. Then the next step up from easy is what they call intermediate. Now, I have an area between intermediate, easy and intermediate that I call moderate. And the reason I do that is because when you're working with dog patterns, there's a little bit different kinds of shaping in there. And you're not using any harder stitches or techniques. It's just a little bit different. And it's not a true level. It's just something that I do occasionally if I'm going to do something that's a little bit shaping, because dogs' bodies are weird. You know, their heads are weird. We can't just make a hat. It's different. And so I'll add that. I'll put easy moderate, but not intermediate, because it's not anything new. It's just a little different on the shaping, I guess would be a way of putting it. But the intermediate is a step up from the easy. And that's where you'll get into cables, you know, twists and loops and things that are a little more intricate, but not finely intricate. For instance, this hat, I've got stitches on front loops, not front loops, front posts and back loops, and a little bit of shaping. And so this hat would be considered an easy. If you do one that's all cables or lots of shaping and stitching and twisting and turning your product over and all of those things, that's where the intermediate comes into it. Because you're using those things you already learned from the easy. Good morning, Cassandra. Make sure everybody clinks in. Sharon, I didn't see you pop in. Thanks for coming today, guys. But anyway, when you get to the intermediate, you're still using all those things that you learned in the beginning and the easy. It's just you're learning new techniques and how to use them. You're still, because the truth of the matter is, every crochet pattern, every crochet stitch or pattern, you're really basically working off the same techniques that you learned in the beginning. It's just learning to place them in different places and learning to put them in different places. In other words, instead of putting maybe a double crochet in the top of a double crochet, you might put it in between or behind, or you might loop around. And so it's a different technique. And so basically when you move from easy to intermediate, it has more to do with the techniques and where you're putting those things. And also with shaping. You know, for instance, the top of this hat, it's still using similar techniques, but it's a shape. you know, and it has to do with, you know, you're not doing a straight row of single crochet. You might be doing single, double, half, triple, double, single, you know, something like that. And so you have to keep up with those things. And so it's a little bit more difficult. But that's not intermediate. Don't let intermediate patterns scare you. They're really not hard patterns. They're just using what you've already learned. Good morning, Brandy. Good morning, Rhonda. Thanks for popping in. Listen, the next stage after intermediate is what's called experienced. And I don't think I've reached experience myself, because experienced patterns are using the little thread patterns and intricate lace patterns. And they're really not, in my opinion, they're not hard. To me, they're hard because I can't do the tiny little crochet hooks anymore. The little teeny silver steel ones, I was going to see if I had one there in my bucket, but I don't. But the little tiny silver tiny ones, and you're using the really intricate threads, and you're doing little tiny things, and it's lace and swirls and things. It's beautiful, and if you can do it, I don't really think there's a whole lot of difference between the intermediate and the experienced. It's just you're more comfortable with doing a lot of those things because you're repeating. For instance, like a pineapple stitch is usually considered an experienced, but I think it goes more with the intermediate, because you're repeating in order to make that stitch, but you're repeating it around or in different ways. And it's one of those things where it really depends on you, because we've talked about this in the past, and some people are what I call artsy fartsy, and some people are what I call technical. And I'm more the artsy fartsy. I can look at something and look at the stitches and know exactly what those stitches are and where to put them. But sometimes I can't technically tell you exactly what the person did until I duplicate it. And so, of course, I don't do that unless I'm making something for myself or a friend or something. But the truth of the matter, the bottom line, let's bottom line this. That's what someone used to say to me all the time, because I used to be quite the chatty Cathy. They would say, okay, give me the bottom line. And what it is once you begin to crochet and you learn the basic stitches in the beginner skill level, you can learn how to get all the way up to the experience level rather quickly, because really they're all basic stitches. Once you learn to chain, once you learn to single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet, and of course I'm talking about American terms, and the English, you know, European terms are the same, but their stitches are a little bit different. And if you're using an English written pattern, make sure you just check. But it's not hard. I've done many of them, and they're not hard. But the thing is, once you learn all those basic stitches, you've got skills, because all the next groups of them, that the easy, intermediate, and experienced, all work off those beginner patterns, all work off those beginner stitches, because they're basically taking the stitches that you already know and just making them into different patterns. You know, for instance, I had a special request to redo the video on this pattern, and this is a pattern that I wrote for my mom when she had breast cancer before she passed away. And it's just, I call it the Anne's Pink Ribbon Beanie, chemo beanie. And the truth of the matter, this is all double crochets, but this looks like, oh boy, that might be complicated. But really, it's just a cross stitch, and you're double crocheting. You go back and double crochet in the stitch you skipped, and then you go to the next one. And basically what I'm saying is all the stitches that are used in the intermediate and experienced patterns are just variations off those basic stitches that you used as a beginner. So don't let them freak you out. Don't let them, you know, oh, I can't do that. That looks too hard. You know, Brandy says she can't do the stitches with the thin. I used to just love to make those tiny little doilies and stuff. I even made little tiny doily earrings and different things. But I can't hold the crochet hooks anymore. So good morning, Melissa. I didn't see you pop in. So anyway, the bottom line, like I said, is do not let the harder patterns scare you. If you're not confident, learn to read a pattern that is a beginner pattern. Get to know those abbreviations and learn all the basic stitches. Once you learn those basic stitches and where to put them, the other stuff, it'll just come really easy for you. Like anything else, you need a great foundation. So that's what I say when I ask you, do you have skills? Do you have crochet skills? Well, I hope that answered your questions. Now, another thing to remember about this is every crochet designer is different. And yes, we have sort of a setup of what should be in, you know, easy, beginner, experienced, and intermediate, and all of those things. Yes, and you can go, like I said, to Lion Brand, Red Heart, Yarnspirations, Crochet Guild of America. You can go to all their websites and they'll have a chart that explains exactly what all the skills mean. And but a lot of designers don't always go by that, and I can't honestly say I do either, because sometimes it has to do with the technique, not just the stitch. So anyway, the bottom line again, don't let it scare you, and learn. I tell you what, once you get the hang of this, it'll just come easy. Once you learn those beginner stitches, it will, because you'll understand, oh, that's what they're doing, and you'll be able to look and go, oh yeah, I can see that, you know, and it'll make crochet so much more enjoyable to you. So if you're just learning, go on Ravelry and just put in beginner crochet patterns, and there are a whole bunch of thousands will pop up, and just work on a bunch of those, and before you know it, you'll have crochet skills. Good morning, Judy. She's just popping in. And just remember, if you missed the beginning of the video, I always post it to YouTube. It'll be posted on the Facebook page, and you won't miss out on my silly jokes and my silly beginning of the video, and also this crochet talk. All right, so what's going on this week at Posh Pooch Designs? Come here. Let me grab Maxie here. Come here, buddy. Let me show you Maxie what he's wearing. He's wearing our button dog collar. Isn't he a good boy? He's so pretty. Aren't you pretty? That's my Maximo. And he's wearing his dog collar. And that is one we did a few, oh my goodness, 5 or 6 years ago. And I decided just to update the pattern and put a new video out there on it. So that one, that video's out there, super easy. You're just making a long rectangle and then you fold it. And it explains to you in the video how to adjust it to any size dog or pet. Okay, so that's something that's new this week. Another thing that's new this week is this crown that I'm wearing. This video is going to be, the pattern's already out there, and I'm going to try to get the video done on Thursday or Friday. You know, I never give you an exact day. The other thing is the hat that I was wearing last week, the cupcake hat. This one is going to be probably Thursday or Friday also, one of those 2 days. I'm thinking Friday. I like to do a fun pattern on Friday. That way you've got something to work on over the weekend. And it's really easy. You can see it's this down here is super easy, super easy. And only thing is I'm going to make another one. I'm going to put a bigger pom-pom on it. This pom-pom is not big enough. All right. The other thing we did new was, like I said, my Anne's pink ribbon chemo beanie hat. And this pattern, I actually finished it last night, edited it, and went ahead and released it this morning. I had a request to redo the video. When we first started doing videos, I didn't know that you were supposed to upload onto YouTube in HD, and I just loaded them, and they're just kind of blurry. And so what I'm doing is my older ones, I'm going through and just updating them so that it's clear, and I've added more details and things. And of course, I went and made sure the pattern on the blog is written correctly. So, and this is one of my favorite beanies because, of course, I wrote it with my mom in mind. Okay, so we did that. The last thing I wanted to show you is we've been doing the 6-inch square, Afghan square. I always call them granny squares, but someone informed me that unless you do it in the traditional way, it's not actually a granny square. It's okay. So, last month we did the January garnet, and each month we're doing a 6-inch granny square or Afghan square, and the inspiration is the birthstone of the month. So this one is our January garnet, and we did that last month. And then yesterday morning I released this one. And this is our February amethyst. And you can see the center. I'm going to turn it this way, you can see it better. We tried to make it look, I tried to make it look like there's some little hearts in the center. And so we released that one yesterday. So those are the two granny squares. Now, someone asked me, what are the colors that you're using? Because I want to go ahead and stock up on some yarn. What we're doing is each month I'm designing a 6-inch granny square, and I'm using, like I said, the birthstone for the inspiration. So next month is March. March's birthstone is the aquamarine. So maybe get something aquamarine. But anyway, these don't have to be made in those colors. You can make them in any colors that you want. Good morning, Trish. Did you clink in? But anyway, you don't have to make the squares in the color that I make them. You can do them however you want to. But what the goal is with that is there will be 12 squares. And when we're done, we're going to have something that we're going to make with it. And I already have something in mind, and I have an idea in my head. And so I might let you know ahead of time, and I might not. So anyway, that is our video of today, our live video chat. I'm so glad you all shared this time with me. And those of you, like I said, if you came in a little bit late or you missed the beginning of the video, I always post them on YouTube, and I always post them on Facebook. And so it'll be there if you want to learn about your crochet skills. And ask yourself, do you have skills? I don't know why I find that so funny. Anyway, good morning, Jamie. Washington State. Awesome. I love to hear where you're all from. It's so much fun to know what parts of the world everybody's tuning in from. And remember, if you have a question, you can always email me and ask that question. Or you can message me through Ravelry or Etsy or Craftsy and ask your question. I will do my best to get to all the questions. I'm always looking for more questions, and I do have a list I go by, and I have some more questions in mind for the next few weeks, but I always want to answer your questions. And if it's an important question to you, I can switch things around, and, you know, because I kind of like to be prepared. But if it's an important question to you, I'll be happy to answer your question for you. So, that's our video chat for today. Thanks for popping by, and ask yourself, do you have crochet skills?